part of me was considering saving this for when we did the season of all canceled artists, but I figured we'll do Never Mind the Bollocks for that and talk more about Johnny Rotten himself at that point. This time I really want to emphasize the rest of the band because there are some pleasant surprises for fans of Nine Inch Nails here.
In PIL?
Yeah.
Okay, you know who's a fan of Nine Inch Nails?
Yeah.
Who's got two thumbs. And I think if you add up the inches of my finger and toenails, then I might have about 9 inches. You know what I mean?
Is it 9 nails that are 1 inch long? Or are they
is it
9-inch nails?
Is it a Christ reference? Is that the size of the nail that they used?
It is the size of the nail they used to
crucify
Jesus, but I think it's also... Courtney Love is convinced it's also an exaggeration about the size of Trent Reznor's dick.
All right. Well.
But she's also a Starfucker Incorporated, so...
Is that...
That song's about Courtney Love.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That song fucking kicks ass.
That's that might be my favorite Nine Inch Nails song.
I like the opening track off of... what is it? Is it the Fragile? That, where it's like... You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That gets me just... That makes me want to tear this whole place up. Not this place. I respect your property. But the universal tear this whole place up.
I have to keep stopping Dave from kicking my CRT TV. So.
He's the type.
I've threatened multiple times.
Dave, you got that crazy look in your eye.
Yeah. It was... I think
those are getting hard to find now.
Is this what you mean? The ones that you could play like Duck Hunt on? Yeah. Those were the days.
I got that for free out of a Catholic school.
Oh man, they were just giving them away.
Yeah, it's still got a great image and everything. So.
That's cool. I had
now people stick them on Craigslist and they put gamer TV for sale, $300.
Oh yeah, everything's going up in cost.
Just stick gamer in front of something and you can sell it for more money.
Because gamers are chumps.
And they're flush with cash.
They are. It's not cash they can afford to spend a lot of the time, but it's just why buy food
when you can play Skyrim faster?
Yeah.
You know?
Or why buy food that's better than
how much is like a really nice gaming PC if you get like all the bells and whistles and you want to play like Skyrim for the rest of your life?
Skyrim, you don't have to go too expensive because that's an old game at this point. But if you just want like the highest end PC, $3,000-$4,000 at this point.
Oh, that's like
if you can get the graphics card, because
I think I spent like $1,500 on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little less than a new guitar, and I'm always ready to buy a new guitar.
But an adequate gaming PC, $1,500 is fine.
Okay.
But like very top of the line.
I don't trust myself with a gaming PC. I feel like if I did that, that would be the end of like me as an artist.
Maybe I spent $2,000 on mine.
2,000's reasonable, but part of the problem with getting a gaming PC now is because one of the big companies that make graphics cards is NVIDIA, and they are all in on AI bullshit. Yeah. And so as a result, that's why there's like a huge shortage in graphics cards. And can you get a good graphics card for your new PC? Who can say? Go ahead and pay for it. Maybe it'll show up with the rest of the equipment.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like that fucking CEO that was like, musicians don't like writing songs. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just spent my entire life buying musical equipment because I hate doing it.
That sounds like a CEO thing to say.
Yeah, really.
To generalize like an artist, something that like they have no like idea or you know what I mean? Like their motives are different.
I forget what I was watching, but I think it was Ed Zitron that was talking about how CEOs love AI because their entire life is like emails.
Yeah.
So of course they're like, oh, this will just sum up everything for me in one thing, so I don't have to read anything. Well, that's genius. Everybody will love this.
The only real email jobs are CEO jobs because like everyone else has more real actual work they have to do. CEOs don't do any real work.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's like, and they think that people are trying to force, people in that world are trying to force this, like, well, now we're doing just AI because it's less expensive for me, but they don't understand that, like, people who do business with each other don't want to, like, talk to a fucking robot, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, not really a good business deal if you can't, like, talk to the human that you're giving your money to. Like, I can't believe that, like, somebody who's, like, AI cheerleading is, like, they don't understand, like, oh, well, you don't have to talk to a human. It's like, yeah, but I want to, because since I'm giving you money, I might need to, like, hash out some details with someone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to yeah, go on.
There's nothing I hate more than when I need to call my bank and I have to navigate through a phone tree.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to a person. I can explain my situation to a person. I'll get fake sympathy from a person, which will be good enough in the moment when I'm stressed.
And you'll get the answer. You know, they won't be like, maybe this article will help, and then you're like, no, that article does not help, and they'll be like, well, then maybe this article will help, and it's like the same fucking article, and you're like, no, you asshole.
I miss the old days where you could just start mashing 0 and you'd eventually get to a person.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like if I ever did that, like, if I was a customer service representative and I just kept telling the same piece of wrong information to a very pissed off person, I'd eventually get fired. And for some reason, they don't fire AI. You know what I mean? That's fucking wild.
They don't fire it yet. I think the bubble's gonna burst before the end of the year.
AI can. My grandma used to say that. Not AI. She wasn't around during AI, but AI can take a long walk off of a short pier.
Yes,
that's what my grandma would say. That was like her way of saying "fuck you." You know, did you tell him to go take a long walk off a short pier? And my dad would say, like, because I'd like be mad if I got bullied, and he'd go, did you tell him to go pound sand up his ass?
I've heard go pound sand, but not up his ass.
Did you tell him to go flour his nuts?
Amazing. Love it. 10 out of 10.
Well, you know, it's like AI is kind of bullshit because it's like, how long have we had AI in, like, video games that's like dog shit? And they still haven't used any of this, like, new so-called AI innovation to, like, make the AI in video games, like, do anything meaningful. Like, when I play Age of Empires, like, there's like 2 modes. It either cheats, so it overflows on you, or it's just stupid.
Yeah. I remember one time a friend of mine, when I was like a kid, got like Axis and Allies, like the computer game version, so we wouldn't have to spend an hour setting the board up. And like once we were playing just the 2 of us as like the US and the USSR, and we were playing against the AI, and we noticed, oh wow, the AI is sure rolling a lot of 5 and 6s in combat. Yeah. Or 1s, no, because you want to roll low in that, because you have but yeah, it was rolling a lot of 1s. It's like our infantry's getting wiped out by some cheap dice rolls. Yeah.
I don't have any experience with either of those games because I didn't really get into gaming until I feel like there was this like kind of golden age of development where computers and games were like becoming cooler and cooler and cooler, and I'm kind of a latecomer to that, you know.
Yeah, there was
PC gaming was a pain in the ass until what, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like you had to be completely up to date on all your hardware. Once something went out of date, you could only really play old games with it, and then like
nowadays like a 10-year-old PC will still get a lot of people by.
Yeah,
that's why Windows 11's requirements are so stupid, because like so many computers are still capable, and they're gonna be like, no, can't install Windows 11.
Yeah, my gaming laptop though, it's also my music laptop, so that basically when it becomes outdated and I need a new gaming PC, I still have a use for it, because it'll always work for what I need for music. Like I don't need the newest, latest, and greatest for music.
Yeah,
I just need a digital Mellotron, because a real Mellotron is gonna break if you breathe on it wrong, and there went $6,000.
Only rich people can do that
anymore. Yeah. All right. So,
PIL.
PIL. So hello.
Public Image Limited. What is he trying to say with that band name, do you think?
What do you think he's trying to say?
Public Image Limited.
You'll Dance to Anything by Public Image Limited. Have you heard that Dead Milkman song? Oh, it's called Instant Club Hit, You'll Dance to Anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's punk rock.
It is, yeah.
They're making fun of a guy who's a self-proclaimed punk legend.
Yeah. You'll Dance to Anything by Depeche Mode.
I will dance to anything by Depeche Mode.
I love Depeche Mode.
And
they're great.
And both the Dead Milkmans and the Depeche Mode's defense.
Yeah.
I will dance.
I'll dance to a lot. Like all the bands they make fun of and that I like, but it's also a funny song.
Yeah.
So, hello and welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Dave.
And I'm Steve.
And today with us we have returning champion
Jacob. Hi, I'm Jacob.
This is Jacob, who we had on the Dinosaur Jr. episode. And fellas, what do you know about Public Image Limited?
I only know the Sex Pistols guy is part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one experience with Public Image Limited, and it's when I was very young. One of my sources of music information was Beavis and Butthead watching videos on their couch and either making fun of each other, making fun of the bands that they were watching, or getting into the bands that they were watching. And in this case, they made fun of Public Image Limited. They were making fun of, he's just listing off names of things, like, and so it seemed like anything that they said about a band, I would kind of go along with, And so since that was a negative review, then that kind of stuck with me. But
that was Rise, right? I could be wrong, I could be right.
I could be white, I could be black. I could be... Yeah, like Beavis really goes off.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That was off of their 5th album, which was called Album. And that was the first...
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like that. And
that was the first album that they did where they no longer had anyone that is on the album we're going to listen to today.
Oh, okay.
Basically they started off like pretty shortly after the Sex Pistols broke up. Not like right away, because there was a really brief period. This is weird, where Richard Branson, the owner of like Virgin? Yeah. He was trying to make John Lydon, Johnny Rotten, into the lead singer of Devo. And Devo was not having it.
No.
Yeah, that guy, Johnny Lydon and Richard Branson. What's more punk rock than hanging out with Richard Branson?
Yeah,
Granted,
I think I think it was just Richard Branson's idea. From what I can tell, John Lydon also thought it was a bad idea, and and then Mark Mothersbaugh and Jerry Casale were like, no. And then Richard Branson tried to get them drunk and high to get them to agree to it, and they're still like, no.
I can't picture anywhere in the multiverse where that would work.
Yeah, I could imagine Mark Mothersbaugh or someone from Devo going like, I think you're missing the point, Richard Branson.
Yeah.
You're forcing this. You're trying to force this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of... because I got to connect everything to Black Sabbath. It just reminds me of when they just got drunk with Deep Purple singer, and then Deep Purple singer ended up in Black Sabbath, and they're like, oh shit, we have to do an album. Except instead, they're like, no, I'm not doing that.
There's an article about it I can find and send it to you if you really want to link to the sources. It's just really funny.
With the Richard Branson thing?
Yeah.
I'll check. Yeah, send it my way.
Yeah.
I'll read it. I got time on my hands.
Yeah.
I can't read it right now, of course.
Of course, yeah. but yeah, no, Public Image Limited started shortly after the Sex Pistols.
What year when did Sex Pistols stop and PIL start?
Sex Pistols stopped when their disastrous U.S. tour fell apart in '78.
Okay.
And PIL's first album was called Public Image, and it came out in December of '78.
Okay, so right away.
Yeah, so pretty quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically, John Lydon, after the Sex Pistols broke up, and after Richard Branson tried to force him into Devo, decided that rock music was over and wanted to do something more avant-garde, and he was always really big into Kraftwerk. One of my main sources for this is going to be John Lydon's second autobiography, which was called Anger is an Energy. But I also read a lot from the other band members from some of Simon Reynolds' books, like Rip It Up and Start Again, and Totally Wired, which is all just stuff from different post-punk people.
Is Simon Reynolds a member of PIL?
No, he's just a journalist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know who else thinks that rock is dead?
Who?
Friend of the pod, Gene Simmons.
Oh.
Yeah, but John Lydon thought it in 1978. So
he was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons. He would know. He invented it.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, like...
Did you ever see that video of Dio kind
I was
of
just about to bring it up.
Jim Simmons?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, but, of course, Gene Simmons believes that he invented this symbol that my grandma made, but, he also invented, breathing and shoes.
Yeah. And so, like, the early days of PIL, John Lydon grabbed... he made the same mistake he did with Sid Vicious. Only this time it worked out. He grabbed a friend of his who had never played any instrument and was like, "Here, learn the bass." And
I am all for using an instrument as a medium and not being like you don't have to be a Juilliard scholar to write music that I enjoy. You know what I mean? But there is I don't know. Every time I see live versions of Sid Vicious playing music, he's in most cases not playing music.
His amp is off and he's just miming the motions.
And then
you can tell he's not hitting the notes that
the
should
drummer
be.
was really good. And what was the guitar player's name from Sex Pistols?
Steve Jones.
Yeah, I always liked
amazing.
his sound a lot.
Yeah, he's
and
really
I
good.
like him. He's in the. He seems like he's he's a former member of the Sex Pistols and has a little bit of a I am in the Sex Pistols kind of thing, kind of a Gene Simmons kind of thing, but Sex Pistols style, but nicer, but
Yeah.
I could probably have a conversation with him. He might treat me like a human being.
Yeah.
We might make eye contact.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Steve Jones is amazing. Yeah. But yeah, no, so his friend that he recruited for the band, I forget his real name, I'm gonna have to look now, but he went by the name of Jaw Wobble because he was big into reggae. Jaw Wobble's real name was
I thought you were going to say big into Star Wars for a second.
Yeah. His real name was John Joseph Warble, so that's actually pretty close.
Jaw Wobble.
But
I was not thinking reggae when you said Jaw Wobble. I don't know what I was like, what is that making me feel like? And then when you said reggae, I was very I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Jaw Wobble.
And so what he did was he bought a bass and he couldn't afford an amp, so he would lie down on his bed and hold the pickup against the wall and taught himself to play via the vibrations. And he had a lot of discipline with this, so he was an amazing bass player, as you're going to hear soon.
Remember when we brought up videos of Varg doing the same thing with his guitar, and he was playing a riff that just sounded like Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Yeah. And then another member that he recruited early on was, do you remember our Clash episode?
Yes.
How there was that song called What's My Name,
Mm-hmm.
which I said was by someone who wasn't in the band for very long, along with Joe and Mick.
Yes.
Keith Levine.
Ah.
He joined, Johnny Rotten recruited him for Public Image Limited, and they both didn't quite fit in their previous bands. Because Johnny Rotten was a late addition to the earliest version of the Sex Pistols. They didn't have a singer, and then
weren't they kind of like punk rock Yardbirds, where they were just kind of thrown together by a record company?
Yeah.
See, that's not very punk rock in my opinion. So whenever I see Johnny Rotten boasting about how he invented punk rock, I'm just kind of whatever, dude. You should have seen New York Dolls on the Midnight Special.
Rest in peace, David Johansen.
Yeah, I just want to bring him up a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was like it's one of a lot of inventors of punk music. You know what I mean?
If I had to just narrow it down to one person, I don't know if I would say David Johansen, but I would like it to be David Johansen.
Yeah.
New York Dolls were awesome. David Johansen was awesome. Rest in peace.
I just think that I love his like career. Is so funny. Like you see pictures of him like performing in the New York Dolls, and you're like, wow, that's the same guy as Buster Poindexter, the cab driver from Scrooged, and the guy in Car 54, the movie.
and I like it when like ugly guys just wear drag to make a statement too. It's so good. Yeah.
And he had some moves. Like he really got into it on stage, man. He was a fun guy to watch, you know.
Yeah.
I think Gene Simmons invented punk.
I think you're right. I'm convinced, you know. He'd tell you, you know, he'd agree with you.
If it's not on the punk Wikipedia page, somebody go at that, because you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons invented punk rock.
Yeah. And then they recruited a drummer for their first album who got bullied by all the members. According to John Lydon, he was bullied out of the band by Keith Levine and Jaw Wobble, and Johnny Rotten was perfectly nice to him. However, everyone who was in this band was out of this band by the early 80s, so I'm not going to believe that John Lydon wasn't involved in that.
I have a hard time thinking that guy's nice to anyone.
I do too, yeah. I think he likes his wife, and maybe his 2 grandkids that he races with her, but that might be it.
Isn't he on the Trump train?
He is on the Trump train. Yay.
That's so punk.
Yeah.
That's so fucking punk. I can't believe that I haven't done it.
I have a theory about that, but when we do the episode about canceled artists in a few seasons, I'll talk about it.
Is he
then.
a canceled guy?
Kind of, in that he's on the Trump train, so a bunch of people hate him for that, which is fair.
Yeah.
I hate Trump.
Speaking of the Trump train, Kid Rock and Lauren Boebert, aren't they the perfect couple?
I bet. Wait,
those two deserve each other.
While you're listening to this right now, Kid Rock is eating out Lauren Boebert.
Oh my god. Or is it the other way around? Goodness, Gordon. That's punk.
Yeah.
That's punk. Kid Rock, a rap star.
But yeah, and so like after their first album, which was exactly 30 minutes long, because that was how much material they had, and they wanted to release a full length at the minimum requirement before they stopped doing rock music and moved to something more experimental. So that was that. That was their only one with their first drummer. Then their next album after that was called Metal Box, and it was sold in a big metal tin. And it was just a bunch of like 45s, like a full record worth of material on 45s.
They make you work for it.
Yeah,
man.
it was prohibitively expensive, and they didn't make any money off of it. They lost money off of that because they wanted to sell it at a normal cost.
That sounds like something like company like, I don't know, like Rhino Entertainment would come up with today.
Yeah.
Like they were really ahead of their time there.
Yeah, and it is their best album, their best studio album. And they didn't officially have a drummer in it, so they had a bunch of different session drummers, and the ones that ended up being the one that fit with them the best was a guy named Marty Atkins. Marty Atkins was in another band called Brian Brain, which was like an all-right new wave band.
Brian Brain.
Yeah.
That's a cool band
name. And they had some pretty good songs. But Marty Atkins kept doing what he was doing, and in the 90s he played with Killing Joke.
Oh, okay.
He played on, what was the name of that album?
What form of Brian did they use for that? How did they spell Brian?
The one that's the most like Brain.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brain.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so he played with Killing Joke on Extremities, Dirt, and Various Repressed Emotions, which had the big, huge hit single, Money Is Not Our God.
Extremities, Dirt, and Various Repressed Emotions. I have all of those things.
Yes. And so there's that song, Money Is Not Our God, that was on that. Anyway, it kind of revitalized Killing Joke's career because they were kind of falling apart at that point. It was down to just their 2 original, like, vocalist and guitarist, and like they lost their bass player and their drummer at that point, and they were able to get their bass player back at that point. And so but yeah, that was a huge album. It revitalized their career, and eventually their original drummer joined back up with them, and Marty Atkins was like, "Yeah, fine, that's whatever. I'm going to play with Nine Inch Nails now."
Okay, he
Yeah.
played with Nine Inch Nails?
He played with Nine Inch Nails, and then like shortly after that, he started his own industrial supergroup, Pig Pile.
Pig
Pile.
Yeah, this is the Pig Pile guy.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll like this guy's music.
Yeah,
Just based off of his band names. He seems like he gets my humor.
yeah.
There's a lot of pig imagery in industrial, isn't there?
There
It
is,
is.
yeah. But yeah, like Marty Atkins was kind of the stabilizing effect. Although, like this live album is the last album Jaw Wobble was on because he and Johnny stopped getting along around this point. And their third album, their last really good album, was called Flowers of Romance. And it's like, well, we don't have a bass player. I think Keith Levine plays bass on like 2 songs in it, like overdubbed with the guitar. But then for the most part, it's like weird tape loop experiments, like creating tape loops by putting like ashtrays on the strings of a piano and playing it, and then like taping it and looping it. It's a wild album. It's a really cool album, and it's their last good album. Because after that, Keith Levine leaves, and Marty didn't last much long after that, and it all kind of falls apart and becomes basically a John Lydon solo project. And their fourth album still had Marty on drums, but Johnny decided to replace like the guitar and bass with like a horn section, and it sounds kind of like cheesy because of that.
Yeah.
Like Keith Levine later like grabbed some bootlegs of several songs off of it and released them on their own, and they sound pretty good. But yeah, there's that. And then
Is that the same era as the Beavis and Butthead show track?
not quite. Then there's the next one, which was the one where like the fifth one, which is called Album. Johnny is the only member left at that point, and he just recruited a bunch of all-stars like Steve Vai. Play guitar on it and didn't credit him. Yeah.
He didn't credit
He
him?
didn't credit anyone, including himself, but you could tell it's his voice. And it sounds kind of like U2. And they sound kind of like U2 from there on out.
He didn't credit anyone, including himself, but it's a PIL record.
Yes.
Good one, Johnny.
And everyone else had been kicked out of the band at that point. So
Does anybody know who else besides Steve Vai was on the record? Is there anyone else worth?
I mean, we all know it now, but I'll bring it up because it's kind of weird. It's wild. It's one of the weirder things you'll hear, I think.
Man, I just feel like, I have a lot of ideas. I just don't have the money to like see stuff through.
Yeah.
But there's people like Johnny Linden who like just has nothing I've ever agreed with to say. You know what I mean? And he just has endless ability to get like Steve Vai on his record. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, you win strikes and gutters, Duncan. Yeah. Strikes and gutters.
Okay, the names that you'll know, there's a bunch of different people on it, but the names that you'll definitely know are Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Bernie Worrell. And wait for it, Ginger Baker.
Oh, nice.
Finally. Bernie Worrell, Ginger Baker, and Steve Vai with Johnny Rotten. Yeah. And man, I wonder who the bass player was.
Bill Lashwell, who was also the producer. He played bass on like half of it, and then the other half was done by a bunch of other people, it looks like. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I respect it even.
And having a band of all stars like that not crediting them is pretty funny.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I mean, they were paid for it, but yeah.
That is really funny.
That's
okay, so Johnny Linden just kind of went up a little bit in my eyes. You know what I mean? So.
And he even said, like in his autobiography, that he thought that it would be funny to do that and then have people be like, wait, was that Steve Vai?
He has an autobiography.
He has 2.
Oh man.
He has one called Rotten, No Irish, No Blacks, No Dogs, which was about like the sign that they would put outside of businesses that they didn't want
those things in,
and he was Irish and grew up in England, so
I should have an autobiography called Jacob Duncan, No Shirt, No Shoes, No Service.
Yes. And then he has another autobiography, which I use more for this because it talks a lot more about PIL, called Rise, Angers, and Energy, which is written about the song that we were making fun of earlier because Beavis and Butt had made fun of it. That I said basically sounds like U2, but yeah.
That's the one that sounds like U2?
Yeah, that's the one with Steve Vai and Bernie Worrell and Ginger Baker.
That's Ginger Baker.
Yeah.
The greatest, the self-proclaimed. He's like the Gene Simmons of drumming. He's all right. He's good. Yeah. But I don't know. I've heard him talk sometimes, and he thinks like he's got like nothing good to say about John Bonham, and I'm just like, you're delusional. You know? I'm not the biggest Led Zeppelin fan, but you can't really like be like, oh, John Bonham wasn't very good.
My favorite parts of Led Zeppelin are John Bonham and John Paul Jones, I think, at this point.
I couldn't agree more. I like Jimmy Page and I like Robert Plant, but
yeah.
On the Black Sabbath reunion album, they either fucked over Bill Ward or he couldn't do it. It depends on who you believe. But originally, Rick Rubin wanted to get Ginger Baker on drums, and Tony Iommi and Geezer were like, "That's not gonna work."
They just knew. That's not gonna work.
Like, Tony was probably like, "Blimey,
blimey." Here, we're gonna look at the cover here. Start with Steve. What do you think? Do you think that any of the images on the front look like anyone in particular?
Let's see. Looks like a donkey. Are they all donkeys? Well, that one looks like a vulture.
Yeah.
Ow! What does that cat think?
Flexo. I don't think I recognize anybody, but I assume they're modeled after the band.
You would be correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And so this album was the reason why they put out a live album. They didn't want to put out a live album, but there was a lot of live bootlegs of their stuff. So they decided, you know what, we're just going to create an official live album with better audio than the bootlegs that are coming out.
Hey there, brother.
And that was based off of gigs in Paris that they played in front of hostile, and I mean hostile, Sex Pistols fans who wanted to hear the Sex Pistols.
Oh, that's awesome.
All the song titles are French.
And yeah, all the song titles are in French because of that.
Of what? Because of why?
Because they recorded it in Paris and released it in French originally. But it's the songs on the back are Theme, Chant, and Careering for the first side, and Bad Baby, Low Life, Attack, and Pop Tones on the second. They weirdly left off their two biggest hits up to this point, which was the track Public Image off their first record and the song Death Disco / Swan Lake off of Metal Box.
I wonder if they just didn't play it good. So
it could be that too. But it also could have been them being deliberate. Death Disco is interesting. Is an interesting song because Johnny Rotten wrote it about his dying mother.
Huh.
And the guitar part Keith Levine came up for it was accidentally an interpolation of Swan Lake. So the single was called Death Disco, and on the album they just called it Swan Lake. It's a great song, but yeah. But an interesting thing about this particular era of the band is they were more interested in reggae and krautrock than they were in doing other stuff post-punk bands were doing. So it's really kind of free-form and structureless to a large degree, but with a pretty tight rhythm section to do it. But yeah, the image on the front, the red-haired donkey is John Lydon, the yellow donkey is Keith Levine, and then the vulture ape-like thing in the middle,
that's Rasputin.
Yes, that's Jeanette Lee, who was an artist who was a friend of the band and who was officially a member of the band but didn't play an instrument or perform on stage.
Oh, how do you get? How much did that gig pay?
I think she got paid pretty well.
Oh, man. See, there we go again.
Yeah. She was not in the band for very long, but she was officially a member of the band and just did their visual component only.
Is this her? What's her name? Lisa. Mercy. Thanks, Lisa, for the presents. For your presents.
I don't think that's her. I think that's I don't know. I can't read French is the problem though.
Oh, I can fake it. That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I want to listen. I want to hear it. I know a lot of people that really like this band, and they're people that I have recommended have cool tastes in music. I only have the one thing. I haven't had very much. John Lennon hasn't really done too much for me to be. I was really excited about the Sex Pistols in the 7th grade when I first heard that album.
Yeah.
And then after some time passed, I was like, I still like that album. Don't get me wrong, that's a great album. But the guy, John Lennon, I don't think he would like me very much.
Yeah. But the official lineup for this is, John Lydon, vocals, sleeve paintings, Keith Levine, guitar and synthesizer, Jaw Wobble bass, Martin Atkins drums. And this was based off of, like, some of the first live shows Marty played with the rest of the band.
Okay.
And Metal Box. When it came time for them to release that album outside of Britain, they caved and did a slightly different track order so that it would fit, and released it as just like a normal LP called Second Issue. But it was all the same songs, but to make it fit rather than as a series of 45s, they had to change the track order.
I'm just looking up to see if they have Metal Box on Spotify.
They probably have it as Second Issue.
Because that would be sacrilege. No, I'm just joking.
Second edition. There you go.
Second edition?
Yeah.
78. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. And then this one is... I don't see it on...
I have not been able to find it on streaming. This one has been kind of a great white whale for me.
Okay, that's kind of cool then.
This is one you got from the Record Fairy, right?
Yes. So, I work for the public library. We get donations sometimes. Most of our donations we send to the Friends of the Library sale, including all vinyl, because we don't have vinyl in the collection. So, we got a bunch of donations with records. I was going through them and sorting them. And it's, we can buy things that come for the Friends of the Library sale. Do you know how much vinyl costs for a Friends of the Library sale in this city?
How much?
50 cents each.
Okay.
So I bought this for 50 cents.
It's even though it says $7.
Even though it says $7, which is what the person who donated it bought it from. I think most of the time, if you want to find one of these, it's like $40 to $60. So the Record Fairy, Fairy brought this to me.
Flip that.
Yeah.
In this economy.
Yeah.
Come on.
I bought $14 worth of 50-cent records.
That's pretty cool.
Got some good ones too. I got those Beatles singles collections where they look like they're throwing you off of the side of a building. I got a bunch of Bob Dylan stuff. I got some Adrian Belew solo records.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a steal.
How cool. Well, let's do it.
One of my coworkers got to it before me and took the Bauhaus record, though.
Oh.
But I think I looked at it a lot closer than she did, so I won. You know Marta.
Yeah, I know Marta.
Yeah, Marta Fiedler. She got to the Bauhaus record before I did.
Damn, dude. You got to be pretty quick on the draw at the Omaha Public Library. The Omaha Public Library Limited. That's a joke about the name of the band. I know.
I wish $15.
Could you imagine going to see Typo Negative for $15?
When was the last time I paid?
I had
$15 for a national touring act.
Yeah, it's been.
I don't think I ever have.
I had my brother showed me this picture of a 93 K-Rock Ranch Bowl lineup from the 90s.
Nice.
And fucking Warren Zevon played at the Ranch Bowl.
Oh yeah, because
it was like $15.
Man, he deserves more money than that.
I know.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon should have been as big as Bob Dylan.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like Bob Dylan. I was just talking about
yeah.
how cool Bob Dylan is earlier today. He's got we don't need to. I like him, but
Yeah.
Warren Zevon is definitely like that. That was a pretty thankless job being Warren Zevon.
He was as good of a songwriter.
I agree.
He just got known for Werewolves of London and everybody thought it was a novel.
And also his like timing was off. He kind of wrong spot, wrong time. Bob Dylan was very kind of lucky in regards to the age of the music industry.
Yeah.
The age of rock and roll, the age of, you know what I mean?
And he went electric exactly when it was going to work for him.
Yeah.
It would have been a disaster if he had waited any longer or done it any sooner.
But in his defense, I'm not trying to chalk it all up to just luck and timing. And
he knew to time it then.
Yeah. And also, that guy has fucking style for days. You know what I mean? Like, I love... Nothing sounds like Bob Dylan records.
One of the records that I bought for 50 cents was Infidel by Dylan, which I'm saving for later.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sean and I want to put Steve through a Dylan album, and I don't know if I want that to be the first one.
Him through.
I think Steve will like Dylan. He just hasn't done a deep dive into him, and I'm trying to decide if Infidel is the best way to do that or not.
Oh, okay.
Which I love Infidels. I guess it's Infidels, yeah. That was the one.
The album or the Infidels?
The album. Like that's the one where that has Joker Man on it as the first side, and you need to look up Joker Man.
What year?
Like early 80s.
Okay.
You need to look up the live performance on Letterman that he did of Joker Man, because guess who his backing band is for that?
Kiss?
No, the Plugs.
The Plugs? I don't know the Plugs.
They were they were an LA Mexican American punk band.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he has just like this punk band backing him up for doing Joker Man on Letterman.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
What did you think of PIL?
Oh yeah, welcome back. We are back from side one of... I guess we haven't said the name of this. This is the PARIS AU PRINTEMPS, because my French pronunciation is bad. This is the live album they put out between Metal Box and Flowers of Romance.
PARIS AU PRINTEMPS.
Yes.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was fucking
here, let me give it a
Inglourious
whirl.
Bastards level of mispronunciation.
PARIS AU PRINTEMPS. I think that's...
Yeah.
If only
We'll
Dinger
say
was
that.
here. If
Yeah.
Dinger was here, he'd be able to
He'd
pronounce
nail
it.
it. That was my first taste of Public Image Limited, and I can hear its influence on a lot of stuff I really like. I think the drummer I think the guitar player is the best, like as far as being a person who knows how the instrument works.
Yeah.
I think that the guitarist is in the lead. The drummer is a very close second. The bass player is like the other two are lapping him. But with that said, the bass player has so much style and force that he's a wizard, and he's one of the things that I enjoy most about the album. Johnny Linden is the thing I like the least about the album. I find that I don't know, I just couldn't find anything to like about him, but I found a lot to like about everybody in the band. I don't know how much he had in regard to Say So, like the songs ended up where they landed because it was in his vision. I assume that he had a hand in that, so I got to give him that. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I do like his PIL voice more than his Sex Pistols voice. I think there's like some raw emotionality to it, but I also think it is the least interesting thing that's going on.
Yeah. And I don't want to just like say bad things about Johnny Linden the whole time.
And I don't know if how much of me seeing him as the least interesting one is based off of everything I know about him after this point too.
I
like
think
the butter commercial and the Trump support.
I saw the butter commercial for the first time right when I showed up here.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it, I was like, why am I not surprised?
Although, his defense of the butter commercial, and this is before he went full like Trumper, was listen, I needed a bunch of money, and because I wanted to release another PIL album. Granted, this was without any of these members. He wanted to release another PIL album, and he wanted to own all the royalties for it, so he needed a bunch of money. And so he could just put out the album he wanted without any input from the record company. And it's like, I can respect that, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I can too. That's pretty cool. I would have respected it a little more if he would have said that, and then also like, and that is my favorite fucking butter I've ever tasted.
Yeah. Does he really like Country Life better? Yeah. His autobiographies are pretty interesting. One of the things I really find frustrating about him and his autobiographies, though, is he thinks he's the only one who gets to tell the story of like the early Sex Pistols and early PIL. And how fucking litigious he gets, like when, like Steve Jones had his autobiography come out, and then there was a Hulu series based off of that had full cooperation from like Steve Jones and Glenn Matlock, who was the bass player, the good bass player who could write songs from the Sex Pistols, and it was directed by the guy who did Trainspotting, Danny Boyle.
Oh wow!
It was pretty good, honestly.
Who's the drummer? What was the drummer in this?
Paul Cook.
Paul Cook.
Paul Cook was also involved. Yeah,
he's a very good.
So
drummer.
It was every surviving member of the Sex Pistols, including the bass player who wrote all of their fucking music.
Yeah.
Were involved in it. And
there were a lot of people there.
Yeah. And
except for Johnny Linden didn't give him their blessing.
Yep, and Johnny Rotten thinks that his story is the only one that really matters, and so he gets litigious. That is the
So when he litigated for that, like, how did that turn out?
I think the show's still up on Hulu.
Oh,
I let my Hulu subscription lapse because I don't want to pay for streaming right now.
Yeah,
but,
that's kind of where I'm at in life.
Yeah. Hopefully it's still up there.
For me, I thought the 3 songs on this side, they reminded me very much of like early grunge. Like, I was thinking of like Melvin's Bluey Porch Treatments multiple times.
Yeah.
Or Soundgarden's first release.
Yeah, different vocal approach. You know, like Bluey Porch Treatment is definitely like Bowel of the Lungs. You know, kind of like metal vocals. This was like career, like higher, like But at the same time, I was also reminded a lot of industrial, which, you know, given what you said in the first half, makes a lot of sense that these people would go on to make industrial music.
Yeah,
a lot of repetition, like you would hear in
and kind of like for lack of a better word, like that kind of trashy, kind of rough repeated bass line with a kind of gnarly kind of drum beat, just kind of that repetition, that chaos, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I liked how repetitive the rhythm section was while the guitar was just going all over the fucking place.
For sure.
It reminded me of like I'm a huge Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds fan, and it reminded me of early Bad Seeds stuff when they were less
structured,
singer-songwriter. But I think that's hilarious that I really like a lot of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is like one of my favorite things ever, and I like all of the iterations of them, especially the chaotic industrial strength stuff.
Although
I could hear that consistent drum just going like that reminded me of that From Here to Eternity record.
Yeah. One of the albums I am going to invite you back for is I have the double LP that Nick Cave made solo in 2020, where it's just him on the piano following all of Australia's pandemic laws, just like alone in a room. Well, not alone, because there was like recording engineers who were masked who were way back.
I would love that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hear me say anything bad.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be such a dick about stuff. Yeah. I mean, they're like, you know, I don't know, like, the bass work is cool. And I love how it's a guy who's like a folk artist, you know, like no bass training. It seems like he really understands like the role of a bass player and is listened to a lot and is well versed. And he's just kind of finding stuff, and I think that's pretty admirable. And yeah, for a guy named Ja Wobble, I can really hear the reggae influence.
Yeah. And and the fact that the drummer had just joined the band and that like the rhythm section is so locked in right away is pretty amazing. Like I didn't hear any major hiccups. Maybe
I wonder
the songs that
I wonder if
include,
the drummer was like, "Hey man, I know you're new to this. Here's what we got to do." You know, or someone was probably like, "Hey."
It sounds pretty similar to what they were doing in Metal Box, or at least the rhythm section does. Like, Keith Levine improvised more than he did on Metal Box, which I think is fine.
And again, Keith Levine is the bass, or no, he's the guitar player.
Yeah.
The guitar player, the drums and the bass seem really intentional. The guitar seems very like, I don't want to say unintentional, but like really kind of avant-garde and kind of take a chance here.
Yeah.
And then
you can never guess where it's gonna go.
I wasn't. And then with Johnny Rotten, it sounds like he's trying to make it sound really unintentional, and it's intentional, but it's nothing that like Jacob Duncan in Omaha, Nebraska would have done. You know what I mean? And that's just the difference in our tastes, I guess. You know, it kind of got. I feel like his singing gets in the way of the stuff that I like about this band.
Got in the way of the groove sometimes.
Yeah. You know,
It did sound pretty amateurish.
it reminded me of like being at a concert that I was really excited about, and the person that I showed up with won't stop talking to me about their work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things that I think John Lydon has said to explain like how like volatile the relationship between like him, Levine, and Wobble was at this point was that they were all on incompatible drugs.
Oh,
And
what drugs was he on?
Lydon was on speed, Levine was on heroin, and Wobble was smoking a lot of pot.
Wow.
So that's why Lemmy got kicked out of Hawkwind, because he wasn't doing the same drugs as the rest of the other guys.
But I think
That's crazy. Drugs. I forgot.
Yeah. What's interesting too is though, like there was a time when like it was like a big anniversary for Metal Box before Keith Levine died, like last year. But there's like a big anniversary for it, and Wobble and Levine got together and played through the whole record with I don't remember who they got to drum for it, but then for the singer, they got a professional Johnny Rotten impersonator named Johnny Rotter to do it, and that pissed Lydon the fuck off. But it's like, if you won't work, like Lydon refused to work with Keith Levine ever again after he left the band. There was a lot of bad blood there, like more so than with Wobble, even though Wobble never rejoined either. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. I would have loved to seen that. Did they have like footage of that or anything?
They do, and Johnny Rotter does a better John Lydon in like the mid-aughts voice. He does a better job at impersonating John Lydon in like 1979, 1980 than John Lydon did at that time too.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I want to check that out. I bet you it blended in a little better.
Speaking of Metal Box, while we were listening, I looked up the Wikipedia page on it, and apparently before they settled on Metal Box, they were thinking of other package options, and one of the options was making the sleeve like sandpaper so it would ruin any other records that were next to it on the shelf.
Which would probably just be other copies of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be all the other Public Image Limited albums in that guy's collection.
Yeah.
You know?
It's which is really funny. Yeah. But yeah, they were like this was a very brief moment that I wish had lasted longer, because I think if this particular group of guys had been less volatile, they could have put out a lot more good records than what ended up coming out of it. But yeah.
Well, based on what we've heard so far, they seem pretty ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were. I'm picturing the scene in Back to the Future when everybody's like, the crowd is just like staring at Marty after he goes crazy on the guitar. It's like, I guess you guys weren't ready for that yet.
One thing I said when the mics were off and we were listening to it was this was played to a crowd of French Sex Pistols fans, and there were a lot of boos that they covered up in the recording by putting like a lot of reverb on the crowd mics.
That's funny. And I thought, like, if, I think you had mentioned that the crowd was booing because it was a bunch of, like, people who were really excited at the chance that they might play some Sex Pistols stuff.
Yeah.
So you got this room full of angry Sex Pistols fans that have to listen to this album in real time.
Yeah.
And they're frustrated, and I get that. But if they would have been like Public Image Limited minus Johnny Linden with how the band sounds, I think people would have showed up and enjoyed it,
Yeah.
But then I'm sure that you know, the crowd was there to see Johnny Linden from the Sex Pistols. So
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, like, you know, Black Flag early on was playing hardcore, and then they quote unquote slowed down later on.
Started playing metal about halfway through My War. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was pissing off a bunch of their fans at the time. And I don't know. I think it's funny being at the other end of history on the punk metal thing, because it just kind of...
it's like the whole...
Yeah.
It's like they did the same thing to Bob Dylan, you know?
Yeah.
Judas! Yeah.
Speed up! Judas!
Yeah.
Turn it down. Slow it down. That's what Henry Rollins was saying.
Yeah, but
So, song-wise,
theme.
there's the bass player. The thing that got me here is knowing that this guy has not very much bass experience, and he's doing like some like blues changes, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Johnny Rotten keeps like yelling, I wish I could die over and over again, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, that makes two of us, pal. But no, and just kidding. I don't want him to die, you know. But
He could have died in, like, I don't know, 2012.
And I couldn't believe hearing Johnny Rotten singing like that against a band as cool as PIL is. That, would you say the guy from who's the rich guy that we were talking about earlier?
Richard Branson?
Yeah, tell him about that.
Yeah, so Richard Branson, did we talk about it this
Did
on
we
mic
talk
before?
about that?
I don't remember if it was on mic or not.
Okay. Richard Branson wanted to put Johnny Rotten in Devo.
And I'm just trying to use my imagination as best as I can, and I just hate it. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to hear, like, Mark Mothersbaugh or someone in Devo talk about that. You know what I mean?
They do. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up.
But
That is
But I'm just picturing...
fucking wild.
I'm just picturing... Lift away those gates of steel.
Oh my god, that's like my favorite song ever in the
Yeah.
world, and the idea that it could have been like corrupted in any way, shape, or form really, like, sometimes I feel like I really dodged a bullet on that one, you know, like
He was a mongoloid.
oh my god, Devo with featuring Johnny Rotten. That is too much, man. The next one is Chant.
This one is
Up tempo.
Yeah, up tempo. This was the most Sex Pistols sounding song.
Yeah, I could really pogo to this one.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice steady, like, fast beat. He really leans more into the Sex Pistols type vocal delivery, more on it. It's really the most approachable song on the album too, other than Death Disco, or on the Metal Box album, not on this album. Death Disco is not on this one. But yeah, this one feels like it would be the most of the crowd pleaser out of any of them. But since we can't hear the crowd very well, who can say if it was or not? Yeah, this is a great song. I like this song quite a bit. I like the love, war, fear, hate, love, war, fear, hate, chant. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, to be honest, it kind of reminded me of, like, some of the metal bands I even listened to, where they would do a chant like that, even.
Yeah.
Just the same words over and over again like that.
Yeah, and it was like the guitar was less freeform. It was more like everyone locked in.
Mm-hmm.
I could picture, like, Max Cavalera from Sepultura doing that, like a heavy version of that.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, it was like heavy metal without distorted guitars.
Yeah.
Because the guitar player is like kind of doing strange psychedelic noise, you know what I mean? Like and it's like I don't think that the guitar is very well mixed in, and it's very thin, and I think I'm missing out a lot on a bunch of what the guitarist is doing on this recording.
Yeah, you should listen to second edition / Metal Box, where it's mixed a little more prominently. He had one of those, like, aluminum guitars, which is why it has kind of that thin, kind of scratchy sound to it too. He also had one of those clear plastic guitars early on, but that got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was a really good, like, inventive guitar player. Who was I really wish
he reminds me of like you know how chaotic like Captain Beefheart's like
Yeah.
guitars, like his guitarists, the way that they all played, like it was very chaotic, but very like you could hear the blues influence in what they were doing, you know, like
Yeah.
that kind of gave me this vibe. But as far as I could tell, because a lot of times all you can hear is Johnny Rotten like just doing stuff that is kind of a distraction.
Yeah, I could always hear the bass. The bass always stands
Yeah, the
out.
bass and the drums are always in your face, which I can.
Yeah.
That takes the edge off. So I liked this one.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on this one before we move on to careering?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Careering. This was my favorite track on this side. It was the most danceable out of them. Like the bass line was just like the kind of thing you could just like groove to. It was more like a lot more synth than guitar. Like Keith Levine was getting more interested in synths than guitars at this point. And
Yeah, that was cool.
so he has like this like droning Prophet 6 that he's, you know, like hitting and letting it ring out, and then while it's ringing out before he hits another key on it, he'll be like do a little like guitar fill on it, like a little scratchy guitar fill, and then hit a different key. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the place, and then to have like this is also more fast tempo than the first song, and so than theme, and so just like to have it there and to have it like such a danceable bass line with like a tight locked in drummer, and it's lyrically it's being cynical about
The job.
the job life, about being expected to career to make a crowd pleasing music, and so they do this while complaining about having to be crowd pleasing while making some of their most unapproachable like avant-garde experimental stuff. And yeah, it's great.
I wonder how much I would like the lyrics that Johnny Rotten comes up with. It's just that he does these like kind of long vowel kind of things where he's like da da these like warbles, and they're always descending, and then another one is a little higher but it's descending like a spooky ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what he's saying but I know that he's like really cynical, so I'm like, okay, I too am very cynical. Maybe we might have some common ground there, but if I could just hear what he was saying, you know.
The song I'm going to look at what the order was in Metal Box. I've only heard like the track listing for second issue or second edition, because that's the one that that you can get now. But like the song right after it on second edition, I'm going to see if it's paired the same way on Metal Box. It is not. Okay. The one right after it on the like the LP version is a synth-based instrumental that was mainly written by Jaw Wobble. And
that works every time.
Yeah,
I love it.
And it is and it leads into chant, I guess, in the Metal Box version, but it's called Socialist, and it was about how Jaw Wobble was a socialist, but it's an instrumental. So
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I like this guy more and more.
Yeah.
Jaw Wobble, the guy.
So,
Jaw Wobble.
So like, but like on the
Wobble
album
the
to have like a song called like to have a song right after careering called Socialist is
that's pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wrote down is these guys have a real sense of humor, like in their music. Sometimes like how should I say? There's been so many like instances that you guys have described where like with the sandpaper thing, and like where they're just kind of being like really funny contrarians, you know what I mean? And then like even like I'll kind of complain about Johnny Rotten, and then in retrospect I'll be like, it's pretty funny though, you know.
At this point too, he was pretty frustrated with like on the press parts of these tours, like being interviewed by people who were expecting him to act like he was still in the Sex Pistols, because the Sex Pistols were basically a band of morons.
Yeah. They were like, how old were they in the Sex Pistols?
They were really young, like early
Like-
20s, late teens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like a total jackass when I was like
Yeah.
19, 20 years old.
And so he wanted to have serious talks about art on interviews, and people would be like being like interviewers, like people in the press would be dismissive of him and like just be asking for like crazy Sex Pistol stories. So he got like really hostile. There's a lot of footage of him being like really hostile with interviewers at this time. Then like Keith Levine and Jaw Wobble just kind of sitting there like, yep. So we thought like if we did this on the song, and then
They like kind of try to just kind of get right past it.
yeah. Well, he would just like get mad and storm off set, while the two of them would just kind of sit there and like try to have a serious conversation with the journalist. And yeah,
That'd have been funny if he stormed off and the journalist was like, "What did you guys like about the band, the Sex Pistols?"
yeah. and then Marty is just kind of there, like, I just joined this band. I don't know. Yeah. He wouldn't really say anything. Yeah.
Marty is the one that was
The drummer. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, the 9 Inch Nails, Pig Pile, Killing Joke guy.
God, what a resume!
Yeah.
Good, bravo.
Yeah.
You know, what era of 9 Inch Nails did he play in?
I think it was the 90s. Let me look that up.
Would it have been
Or Pig Face. There you go.
Pig Face?
Yeah,
That's a cool band name.
it is. Broken EP.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. And then I think he's played live with them since then, because so much of 9 Inch Nails is Tresner by himself in the studio, and then
Yeah, which I'm all about.
Yeah.
I love. I think I'm like the kind of person that no matter what Trent Reznor puts out, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, I can't believe he did it again. Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? So I think I have like a bias, like a nostalgia, you know.
yeah. No, he's great though.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I felt like that last song, Careering, was like one of the most chaotic reggae songs I've ever heard in my life, and
Yeah.
I really liked that a lot about it. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine like the stereotype is that you're supposed to like smoke a bunch of weed and listen to reggae, and
That would
I
lead
feel
to a
like
panic
this
attack
would be
here. Yeah.
like the worst case scenario. Like it's like something that I would do to one of my stoner friends as a practical joke or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't do that to any of my stoner friends. You know?
Wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or would I?
All right.
right.
We have the next side coming up right here. We have Bad Baby,
Bad
Low Life,
I'm both of those things.
yeah, Attack, and Pop Tones. I think Attack is the only one that's not off Metal Box. That one's off their first album. Let me double check that real quick.
Oh,
Low
is
Life.
first.
Low Life and Attack are off their first record. Everything else has been off of Metal Box. Their first album is just called Public Image.
And then they got sued by Public Image, so they changed their name to Public Image Limited. That's a callback from the Dinosaur Jr.
Yes, Public Image. Their first 3 albums are really worth listening to.
Alright.
So like Public Image, Metal Box / Second Edition, and Flowers of Romance are all great. And then after that, it basically becomes Johnny Rotten solo project. But
It's funny because he seems like the least important one to me.
Yeah.
I guess he did form the band, and he did like convince Jaw Wobble to learn how to play bass.
Jaw Wobble.
But yeah, it's really the magic between Wobble and Levine playing off of each other, and then like the fact that they were able to find a drummer as perfect for what they were doing as Marty Atkins is just very good. And
Jaw
then,
Wobble. I feel like if I knew a guy named Jaw Wobble, I'd be like, I need to get in a fucking band with this guy immediately.
what's funny is like when Keith Levine died about a year or so ago, there was like all kinds of like really nice eulogies from all kinds of people, except like the most generic, oh, he was an important part of the band from John Lydon himself, and then Jaw Wobble had like the nicest just like eulogy of just like how great he was and how glad he was to have worked with him. So yeah, it was.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
You could hear it in there. They really lock in, don't they? You know, like that's
Yeah.
really fun when you're a drummer or you're a bass player, and then you know that you get like some good chemistry if you're a drummer, and you get some good chemistry with the bass player, or vice versa.
Oh, a funny thing that I said off mic earlier was Careering, and then the last song on the album, which we'll get to later, Pop Tones, were both songs that they were asked to play on American Bandstand with Dick Clark, and it was American Bandstand, so it was a lip synced thing. Well, no, it was the band miming to play their instrument while Johnny had to do live vocals over it, and they cut them down to much shorter songs, and so Johnny had no idea where his cues were, which I honestly don't blame him for.
Yeah,
That sucks.
And so what he started doing was he started just like going into the crowd while holding the mic vaguely in front of him so that the camera couldn't see him, and like grabbing people by the arms and dragging them out onto the stage so they could dance on stage.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. It's worth watching.
That's way less of a disaster than I expected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's also really weird music to play on American Bandstand.
Yeah, I agree. It's really weird music to play off of American Bandstand, even.
Yeah.
You know?
This scratches a very important itch for me. Like if I want to be listening to both like Toots and the Maytals and Can at the same time. But yeah.
And something industrial too.
Yeah. Along with like Killing Joke, yeah.
Yeah, you really get to fucking wring the sponge to this album, don't you?
Yeah. But yeah, this was side one. Now we're gonna flip it good.
I couldn't really follow the story that he was saying.
Yeah, that did get lost in the live version, I think. I'll go into it when we get to it. Yeah,
that thing that he does, I guess it fits the aesthetic. That's not really up to me, you know. But like that, or we should probably start from the first song, huh?
Oh yeah, both.
Well, let's
And
do our overall impressions first.
And we're back. What did we think of this side? I think, as a whole, it was better than the first side.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
This side of the album had a few tunes on it where it really kind of changed my mind. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Their rhythm section is really, really great.
Yeah.
The bass player and the drummer really know how to have a conversation with each other.
Yeah. I also think it's funny that the song "Bad Baby" was like, it's a good song, but just like with a title like that was like such a better side opener than theme.
Yeah. And Johnny Rotten has like really cool like vocal melodic ideas, and I can hear what he's saying a lot more clearly as a result.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not just like, you know, there's articulation. You can hear the words he's saying. It's not just like you know,
Yeah.
like
It's less of like a ghostly wail and more of
the ghost of a goat.
yeah.
Yeah.
On this side is
Pissed off goat.
on this side is when I first like started to recognize him as him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed he sounded a bit more like he did back in the day.
The funny thing I thought about this side is that I griped about the whole Devo situation,
Yeah.
and the bass player at the opening of this side of the record, like, kind of plays the song Satisfaction, their line from Rolling Stones. And I go, oh, was that a Devo reference? Because, you know, it's a Rolling Stones song, but Devo did it. And so that
It could have
still
been.
just blows my mind.
I liked how they started Bad Baby with where it was just Jaw Wobble doing a bunch of different false starts to kind of fuck with the audience, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
This one had real strong Talking Heads vibes. It sounded like, and you know, when I say stuff like this, it's like, I'm not trying to say that anybody is like trying to imitate each other. I feel like a lot of artists will kind of accidentally have similar interests, you know what I mean, and do like similar things. It's not like this guy's trying to sound like that or that guy's trying to anything. But this one did sound like really have that real the bass line and the drum groove were really locked in like a Talking Heads record, and I could really like kind of hear that.
There's a non-0% chance that they were aware of Talking Heads at this point, but had never heard them. Because like 1979, 1980, you know, the last song of Remain in Light, The Overload?
Yeah.
That was Talking Heads, having not heard Joy Division yet, having read about Joy Division and being really excited for how it was described, trying to make a song like that based off of what the reviews were, because they couldn't get their hands on an import record of Unknown Pleasures yet.
I wish someone would have told me about Insane Clown Posse, and then I would have like tried to attempt to record something like that I thought was like Insane Clown Posse, and then heard it later to see if how like on or off the mark I was. You know, that would have been kind of fun.
That would have been, yeah. Next time,
coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think. Okay, what's a new band? Have you heard the band Idols?
Yeah.
Okay, so
they're like manly Dave Matthews.
That's funny. I was gonna try to describe them to. If you hadn't heard them, I was gonna try to come up with like a description of them, just to have you record something like them to see what you would do. But that is funny.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're funny. I'm sure they're like, I don't know too much about them, but I saw their like a little clip of their Tiny Desk thing, and I was like, that's pretty punk, you know, like, all right, you know, plus they kind of look like they're my age, you know what I mean?
They're kind of like post-punk with like lo-fi hip-hop beats underneath. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds neat.
Yeah.
Were they from like New Zealand or Australia or something?
I think they're from the UK.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
How about Low Life?
Low Life was really cool. This one was the first song and one of the only two songs off this whole record that was off of their first album, which was Public Image. Mm-hmm. And this sounded the most like a normal rock song out of all of them.
Yeah. It sounded like The Clash. It had a harmonic chord progression. It wasn't just like a kind of or not just like, I'm not dismissing, but it wasn't like a riff, like a bass riff, like a reggae thing. You know what I mean? There was a like a punk chord progression.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing about the guitar being more normal is it was easier to hear. Like, I love all the stuff that Keith was doing on all the other songs, but by doing like the weird scratchy like thin shit, it like in a live setting, it's harder to hear. Where like you can hear all the stuff it's doing on like in the studio version of the record, and it sounds really good. But just like this particular style of song does a better job at playing for the room, I think.
Yeah, this had more balance, and it wasn't like sometimes with the scratchy guitar stuff, which you can't really hear very well for starters, because it, like you said earlier, it sounds more like a bootleg. But this was a better blend, and sometimes the bass and drums, although are interesting and sound cool, are a little top heavy. You know what I mean? Like they even kind of like stand out more than the vocals oftentimes. You know what I mean? Like where that's kind of like the thing that's really pulling my ear. I think it's probably because I like it better than the vocals in a lot of the other cases.
Yeah.
But this filled in a little better. You know what I mean?
Though I think this song was probably my favorite vocal performance on the whole record.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I think maybe some of the Metal Box stuff, which Metal Box is my favorite album that they ever did, but I think in trying to move farther away from the Sex Pistols, he lost some of the stuff he was good at in the process.
Yeah.
Because he was a good vocalist for the Sex Pistols. Like, there's...
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever heard the song Holiday in the Sun, I was just like, fucking whoa. I was like in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, I never heard anything like that before, you know?
Yeah.
So that was pretty magical. And I was like a big enthusiast back then, you know, but I also I don't know. I also liked a lot of shit back then too.
It's a good album. It is not an immaculate album like some people say it is.
The Nevermind the Bullocks. Or?
Yeah, never mind the bollocks. Like, yeah, it's a great album. There are a few duds on it.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
But there are more duds on that album than any of my albums, and that's just because I don't have any albums, you know. So who's the asshole?
Who's the asshole now? Yeah. Steve, what did you think of Low Life?
I really liked the higher energy of that one. It was the first song where I recognized John Lydon as John Lydon.
Yeah.
Because he was employing some of the same verbal tactics that he would use in the Sex Pistols. But yeah, good song.
Yeah. And then next was Attack, which was even punkier, which I guess is appropriate for a song called Attack.
Yeah. And I think that one I liked even more.
Yeah, it was a good song. It was like good energy. You can hear like them kind of regained the crowd at the end, because like even above all the reverb, you could hear like real like whistles and cheers.
Yeah, Attack was more, how should I say, it was like more like Low Life sounded more like a Clash song in that it progressed, like the chord progression seemed a little more like pop or mainstreamish.
Yeah.
Whereas this sounded more like it had like hardcore punk, or like the kind of mechanisms that like Minor Threat or like Slayer would use, you know, like but like not as like way less ambitious.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't as fast as like Minor Threat or Slayer, but it like the chords moved in a similar regard.
Yeah. Well, when this band is ambitious, they slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, like yeah.
It's a band I could really wear pajamas to.
Yeah. So so like when they're ambitious, you get stuff like Theme. When they're less ambitious and they're going more by what they know, you get like Low Life and Attack. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then Pop Tones.
Pop Tones, I think, is the best song on the record.
It's definitely the most unique song on the record,
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. I felt like I'm a huge Ween fan, and in the like early days of Ween, for like the Pod and Pure Guava and stuff like that, they do like these really kind of groovy kind of bass riffs, like I was talking about earlier, with this like kind of drum machine, kind of this drum loop going, and then they get all weird, like, you know. And there's a song in particular called Spring Theme that this song Pop Tones really reminded me of the Ween song Spring Theme, but like with a more like with a real live drummer who's really, really good, and the guy in Ween is really good too. I'm not saying that, but like it was louder, like it had like more of a rock kind of volume than what Ween would have selected on their drum machine, I suppose. I really like, but yeah, their rhythm section.
Yeah, the rhythm section was really locked down for this one. I really liked the guitar part. It felt like a marriage between like the. This song was on Metal Box. It felt like a marriage between the kind of stuff that was on Metal Box and the kind of stuff that was in the previous two songs that came off their first album. Like it was a way to find a way to do kind of like the more experimental Metal Box stuff, but have it like sit in a more prominent spot and sound more like a rock guitar in the process. And so like it worked really well. The sense of desperation to the vocals was good, but it also had like the approachability of the first album, like more of the Sex Pistol inspired stuff. Like I feel like this is the one where like everyone is coming together and really like bringing everything they completely can to this. Well, you know, like all of the songs, definitely the bass and drums are going, and the guitar, when you can pick up on it, is going. But yeah, this is the one that I think brings all the stuff together. And how I said earlier that it's similar to like Polly by Nirvana, this was about a news story that was going around at the time about a woman who was kidnapped and put in the trunk of a car, and she was tied up in the trunk of the car, but she could hear like the people in the front and could hear like the radio in the front of the car and was able to identify where she was by picking up on the pop tones, by picking up on the radio and figuring out where they were based off of what was playing on the radio.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so she was able to, like later when she was able to call for help, she was able to know where she was based off of the radio, basically.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been nice information to get from Johnny Rotten.
Yeah. Like you can... It's hard to necessarily pick up that full story even in the studio version.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe people who knew the news story when it was new probably could have picked it up faster. Yeah, but
I feel like although I kind of complained a bit about his vocal style, this song is a return to that vocal style that I was complaining about, but it was like more tastefully like added to like what the band was doing. And I also think that since the guitar was blending in with the rhythm section a bit better, that it created a better like tabletop for Johnny's vocal stuff that he was doing, perhaps. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It sounded like that they all came together as one unit on that song, especially, I'd say.
I think it was the band's favorite song off of the Metal Box record.
Okay.
And so it was the one that they probably put the most into.
Alright.
But yeah, that was, as a whole, that was Paris du Printemps.
Paris du Printemps, which translates out to
Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Just kidding.
Yeah, it is an interesting and unique point in their career that they were finally locking in with a full band before it all fell apart. Because, like, Metal Box is great, but it has, like, 4 different drummers on it, including this one. But since he wasn't a permanent member of the band yet, he's, you know, it's not all locked in. This is, like, a very brief moment in the band when like, everyone was finally firing on the same cylinders before it all fell off the rails.
I gotta say that I've never heard anything like it, and although I've never heard anything like it, I could hear its influence in a lot of stuff, and there were even moments, even though I went into it kind of being a Johnny Rotten hate, what's the opposite of a cheerleader?
Hater.
Yeah. I think that
Detractor.
it's
Detractor,
it's a good band for him, and so that makes sense, and I liked it. I'll probably listen to it again sometime. I'll give it a solid 2 out of 2.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like a very interesting point for the band, and I think Metal Box was a fantastic album, and I would recommend anyone listen to Metal Box as well as First Issue, and Flowers of Romance is good too, even if you have to get used to the lack of jaw wobble on it.
Jaw Wobble. They get a 2 out of 2 because that guy's name is Jaw Wobble. And
Yeah.
he's a bass player.
And
I just think that's just amazing. What a good bass name.
Of note, John Lydon does not like this album.
I mean, of course he doesn't.
Yeah.
He says, don't buy this live record because it's not very good.
Well, I bought it for 50 cents.
I think that's funny because one of the things I don't like about Johnny Rotten the most is how up his own ass he is all the time, and then this record that I gave a 2 out of 2, he says that it's not a good record and that I shouldn't buy it. So
Yeah.
man, that guy just zigs and I zag, you know.
I wonder what about it he doesn't like, because it is kind of bootleg quality. It looks like right here it says that they put this out to like counter the abundance of quote unlistenable bootlegs,
Which I have listened to some of the unlistenable bootlegs, and they are unlistenable.
yeah.
Yeah.
It said this album cost
That's a great
Yeah.
what a cool phrase.
said here that the album cost exactly the price of one reel-to-reel tape to record, and they did it on a Revox recorder, so it's probably recorded kind of like a bootleg.
I like
Yeah.
that about it. I think it's cool that they're like, I think it takes some guts to like be like, you know what, we're just gonna fucking record and it's gonna land where it lands, and you either like it or you don't. You can take it or leave it, motherfuckers, including Johnny Linden, who was like, I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah. And it shows what a tight live band they were too. That
Yeah.
like that this was just like fuck it, hit record.
Yeah.
With
I
no
mean-
overdubs. Yeah.
I I compiled a record of Alliterates material together from cell phone recordings. So
Yeah.
it's a fine punk tradition of releasing bootleg live albums.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, like I don't think it's essential like the first three records, like the first three studio records are, but I think it's interesting, and I think it's a good intro to the band too, because it gives a variety of tracks off the first two records without doing either of the big hits, which I think the big hits are the best songs on the records, like Death Disco and Public Image are iconic for a reason.
It makes me want to go listen to their other albums.
Yeah, I think this was a portrait of a live band when they were at the best they were ever going to be. Not that the later versions of the band with no original members weren't capable of, like putting together a good live performance, but this is the forces that made the band what it was, like finally coming together at like their full strength live and facing a hostile audience and saying, fuck you, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. And I think the kind of anger with that, and then like how they slowly went over the crowd over the course of it, is really cool.
By the way, to circle back to the coarse sandpaper sleeve, apparently that ended up being used by a band called the Duruddy Column.
I've heard of them, but I don't remember what they are, like what they sound like, what genre.
It says ambient, dream pop, and post-punk, and then it also says the sleeves for this record were assembled by the members of the band and label mates Joy Division. So there's a connection there. So if you want to get a record that'll ruin other records in your collection, go check out the return of the Duruddy Column.
So if they were contemporaries to Joy Division, they would have heard about this idea probably directly from the members of PIL and just decided to nick it.
Yeah.
Because, like, Joy Division was the newest and hottest shit at the time of this, too. Like, I think there were different views of what post-punk, what you could do with the energy of punk without sounding like punk itself, could be like.
Mm-hmm.
And the competing visions were PIL and Joy Division kind of won out, probably for the better. Like, I think the two Joy Division records are better than the three PIL records I keep saying you should listen to. They're still good, like, they're all good, but, like, I think Joy Division had a more clear view as to what was to follow.
Yeah.
And which is why they, in retrospect, ended up being much more influential. But yeah.
You know, I've never listened to a Joy Division record.
I'll have you on when we do Unknown Pleasures then. Unknown Pleasures is very good. So is Closer. Cool. Like, they have a perfect discography, but that's partially aided by the fact that their lead singer killed himself before they could put out a bad record. But yeah.
That's,
yeah.
Well.
Although, New Order, their first record, their very first, like, full-length album, they're still finding their feet, and so it's not, like, great. It's fine. It's better than the members of New Order say it is.
I got to see New Order one time at a music festival.
Oh, nice.
Got to see New Order and Bauhaus.
I would love to see them together.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. But, like, New Order's, like, next, like, 5 or 6 records after that first one were, like, perfect. So
yeah. I don't really know. I just know that one song that the band in the 90s covered.
Oh, Blue Monday?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
I remember being a teenager and not liking that song and not knowing that it was a New Order song and really kind of not getting, like, I wasn't there yet and my, like, why is this cool? You know what I mean? Or, you know, what's...
Yeah. The Orgy version, yeah.
The Orgy, that's what
Orgy.
Orgy. Kind of a... What a band name, too. Like, that sounds like something... That sounds like, I mean, I would have been in, like, high school at the time that Orgy had a hit with that.
Yeah.
And that's about the age I would have been if I would have, like, named one of my bands Orgy.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that there was a new metal band called Orgy that covered New Order.
That is,
yeah.
That's I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. My favorite New Order song, though, was not one that was on an album, though. It was one of their single-only releases, which is called Temptation.
How the fuck does Sid Vicious have so many solo records?
Because people keep grabbing, like, the random sloppy bad performances he did and putting them on solo records.
Yeah. Plus, he's like an image guy. Like, people are gonna... How do I say this without being, like... I'm trying to be very careful
You
here.
can speak ill of the dead.
I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead. I'm trying to speak ill of, like, you know, when people try to, like, they're my age or older, but they're in these bands and they try to dress like rock stars and rock and roll. Like, they kind of, like, don't dress like that, but then they get up on stage and they have, like, leather jacket and, you know, they're just doing, like, everything Sid Vicious did except for shoot heroin and kill his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's cool that they stopped there.
Yeah. Maybe they're doing heroin.
Maybe they're doing heroin, and I don't know what else they're up to either. But I know that they don't dress like that normally, and it looks a little inauthentic. And I know there's, like, people like, oh, Jake, you should, like, wear mascara or something, or maybe wear, like, a headband. And I'm like, no, I think that I would look like I'm faking it. You know, like, I don't want to ever look.
If you're uncomfortable with how you dress on stage, it's going to convey to the audience.
I don't think I think whatever Sid Vicious was doing wouldn't have aged very well. And
No.
I'm curious as to, like, what he would have been like had he outlived all that stuff.
He would have, like, people would have hated him if he would have lived longer, I think. Have you ever seen the movie Sid and Nancy?
No. Who's the guy that plays in that? Is it Gary Oldman?
It's Gary Oldman.
That's right.
And the main point I want to make with that is Gary Oldman does a better version of Sid Vicious's cover of My Way by Frank Sinatra than Sid Vicious did.
Well, Gary Oldman is far more talented than Sid Vicious, and I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead.
I will speak ill of the dead. He abused his girlfriend and murdered her.
Okay, so
and
that's fair.
And he tortured cats to death.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really shitty, Sid.
Yeah, so good thing he's dead.
You know, and then again, how old was he when he was doing, like, dumb shit like that?
A teenager, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I always think of that whenever I think of the, like, the black metal kids in Norway that were, like, killing each other and burning churches and shit. It's like they were, like, early 20s, teens, kind of shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But one of them grew up to be Varg.
That guy is in a state of arrested development because he went to jail when he was, like, 19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, he got out of jail when he was, like, in his 40s.
Yeah. And now he has a TikTok.
And now he's just like a 19-year-old and trapped inside the body of a 40-something, a late 40-something. Or is he in his 50s?
I think he's in his 50s now. But he also got out of Norwegian jail.
He lives in France now, and he has a wife.
Which is much more humane than American jail.
Well, I think that, like...
Well, he got to, like, leave regularly to go, like, visit family and shit.
Yeah,
that's unheard of here.
Because Norway treats prisoners with dignity, at least compared to the United States.
Yeah. That doesn't... I don't understand that. How are you supposed to make money as a penal system? That's a joke.
Yeah.
But I feel like he hasn't killed anybody.
Yeah. He just never
you know,
stopped being a Nazi. Yeah.
Yeah, he just never stopped being an asshole, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like, because I think he was in prison for like 19 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that it's a little more like reformatory, perhaps. You know, I doubt that he'll, like, I'd be surprised if he kills someone again. And I doubt that was like, it seemed like something that, like, a kid, an undereducated, like, 19-year-old would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other big Scandinavian, like, murderer, like, far-right murderer that everyone knows about is Anders Breivik.
I don't know about him.
He was not a musician. He isn't cool enough to have been a musician. He was, like, a weird, like, gamer guy who got radicalized into the far right and went to, like, he got, like, a bunch of guns and went to a day camp that a bunch of, you know, like, left-wing kids were at, and there's, like, like a day camp for members of, like, I think it was Norway's Socialist Party, and just, like, opened fire on them and killed a whole bunch of people.
Jesus.
He is still in prison, and he complains about the conditions of being in prison when they're, like, they show, like, he's in a nice little apartment where he can play Xbox. Because it's Norway. And
That's weird.
they might be letting him out soon, but they might not because they don't think that he
Is reformed. Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
What's that guy's name? Anders what?
Anders Breivik.
Anders Breivik. Sounds like not cool, Anders.
Yeah, he's a real piece of shit.
Yeah. I think if Varg was here, he'd be like,
Varg can at least play an instrument, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Norwegian.
I don't know. Sometimes when I see the stuff that Varg puts out, I'm just like,
He played a really good Smells Like Teen Spirit ripoff.
Without realizing he was playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is funny.
But what you didn't know is that he was innovating heavy metal as he was doing it. You know, he's another guy that like is like just thinking that he's like inventing the wheel every time he like opens his mouth or like puts his hands on a guitar. You know what I mean? Like if Dio was alive, he'd be like, and he invented shoes and breathing.
Yeah. Oh wow! Like that's one of the reasons why Anders Breivik is noteworthy. Is he killed 77 people on his own in one rampage?
God.
Damn.
I don't know. That's messed up.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
Messed up.
that's a lot of
They should probably
just
not let
innocent
that guy out.
kids. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I would recommend listening to PIL, first 3 records, and then before listening past that, give it a shot and see if you like it. It's, to me, it sounds like the stuff after that, other than like the weird foray into horns replacing the guitar, just sounds a lot like U2. U2 is okay for me. Like I don't hate U2, but I also don't love them. So like if you're, give it a shot after that, see if you like it. But like the first 3 are very interesting, innovative albums that change sound pretty drastically for different reasons. Like the first one is definitely a huge departure from the Sex Pistols, and then when they felt like they were good enough with what they wanted to do musically, they went to like full avant-garde. And then when they lost their bass player, they went even more avant-garde to make up for it. So it's all real interesting, and then it just becomes like normal rock music after that, to qualities where your mileage may vary.
Dang, Joe Wobble collaborated with a lot of people.
Oh yeah, like he never stopped working. Like he was never in a band like as big as PIL was at that point, but he's just a hard worker who does a lot, and he did like a lot of solo stuff. He's a fantastic bass player. He only got better as he got more experience.
He's like he fulfills the like stereotype of like, oh, we needed a bass player, so our buddy just bought a bass, and then like the guy's like, oh, I got gigs, I'm playing in this band, you know, I'm looking at his list of collaborators, and it's like super huge, you know what I mean? And like he seems like he did a lot more work than a lot of the other people in the band, even, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
And
all
he's
the
a
rest,
Buddhist.
yeah.
Oh.
So all the like the
Ja Wobble, he went from like reggae to Buddhism. This guy has got range.
It is kind of funny that after he got kicked out of the band, he just kind of kept working while like Lydon and Levine just kept fighting, and Atkins was like, okay, I'm going to go tour America with my more successful new wave band, and
Cool.
here are a bunch of tape loops I made for you, make an album out of that, and then,
Ja Wobble. What a name.
Yeah.
I'm going to name my firstborn. It doesn't matter if it's boy or girl or what.
Or a cat.
Or a cat. Ja Wobble. Come here, Ja Wobble.
That'd be a great name for a cat.
Yeah.
That is a great name for a cat. Or a bass player.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to name my firstborn bass player Ja Wobble.
Yeah. But it's also kind of interesting to think of like John Lydon and Sid Vicious and Ja Wobble all hanging out as teenagers, and just like how much Sid Vicious crashed out compared to the other two.
Yeah. Poor dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an asshole.
Yeah, but I think he
I'm sure
could've-
a lot
yeah.
of that was fueled by drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, and
Narcissism.
yeah, and then like a bad situation to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky guy, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't in the band Sex Pistols.
Yeah. But that they all kind of stumbled into, like hugely influential roles within the music. Like the music industry wouldn't
say no to any of them.
Yeah. Well, and then how music developed would be completely different if it wasn't for these three street kid fuck ups.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up on thrash metal bands, I mean, Sex Pistols were covered by both Megadeth and Anthrax.
Yeah.
So, they were
Yeah.
a huge influence on the thrash scene. So without those guys, I wouldn't have gotten the stuff that I listened to.
That's kind
originally.
of where I had a book that was like a Nirvana. When I was in the 6th grade, there was this "Come as You Are," the Nirvana story by Michael Azrad, and anytime there was any mention of any band, I would highlight it, and then I would always take that book to Homer's with me, and I would just pick an album out of that book that either Dave Grohl or Chris Novoselic or Kurt Cobain said had any kind of impact on them, and then I would go home and have it change my life.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then here, Nevermind the Bollocks is one of the albums where, I had a pretty magical experience, listening to it for the first time. There's Holiday in the Sun, there's all the boots marching, and then that riff kicks in, and that was pretty okay, I like punk music. That was the moment,
Pretty Vacant is one of my favorites on that one. So is Anarchy in the UK, Submission, EMI. Yeah.
But I wonder if posthumous 2008 album "Fuck Off You Cunt" by Sid Vicious would give you similar.
Oh, man.
Probably not.
That sounds like a love song written by G.G. Allen.
Yeah. I think, but I also think it's kind of it's really cool how influential Jaw Wobble was as a bass player when he'd been playing for a year.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I always talk about when we talk about people like Bob Dylan or Lou Reed who aren't trained, but they just have so much force, you know what I mean, in their artistry. It seems like this guy is right there among them.
And I think when I think of dexterous bass players post this era, I hear the influence from, well, Mike Watt was very technical.
Yeah.
But he was also self-taught. He was playing around as a kid.
You can hear him getting more and more comfortable on the bass the more you listen to their albums and progression.
Yeah. So
he's my favorite musician. He's my biggest influence, I think, Mike Watt.
Yeah, I think the biggest influences I hear on a lot of more dexterous bass playing that has come after it have been Jaw Wobble and Mike Watt.
Jaw Wobble and Mike Watt, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
You're starting to sound like Johnny Linden on some of these records.
Yeah.
Jaw Wobble.
Jaw Wobble. Yeah. I think PAL were marked a very unique convergence of talent and just unique personalities that could not last, unfortunately, and has never been replicated. And so I think it's worth exploring a very small number of records for that reason.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Any final thoughts?
I'm spent.
Yeah.
I am absolutely spent. I'm not gonna talk for another 3 weeks. Just kidding.
You need to bring a bottle of water or something with you.
Oh no, I always I'm just raw dogging these things,
Raw dogging it like you're taking
dehydration style, man.
Raw dogging it like you're taking a flight without bringing earbuds or a book with you.
Yeah. Oh, I would hate when I die and go to hell. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be on a plane with no earbuds or books.
Yeah, just with my legs half folded up because there's not very much room between the seats anymore, and just
my sciatic is becoming inflamed just thinking
You'll
about
you'll have a set of earbuds, but only one of them works, and it's plugged into an iPad that just has the Kiss Disco album in it.
Oh no,
Kisco.
I'd rather just raw dog a flight.
We'll just watch Bob's Burgers on mute on the screen in front of me.
I would much rather watch Bob's Burgers on mute than listen to any Kid. I almost said Kid Rock, but I feel the same about Kid Rock. Kiss.
Ooh, would you rather listen to Kisco or Kid Rock.
Would you rather go down on Kid Rock or Marjorie Taylor Greene, or is that the one that he's dating?
No, it's
Lauren
Boebert.
Boebert.
Oh, I get those two confused. And or Gene Simmons, like just because.
I actually think Boebert's kind of attractive in a trashy sort of way. So.
Oh man,
She's also even more unhinged than Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I think they would get no intimacy from me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, not tonight, girls. I've been working all day. All right.
Oh, look at the time. I think I need to go to bed.
You guys
And
are
that's
gonna
exactly
have to
what
leave.
drove her into the arms of Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Into the arms of Kid Rock.
The willing, waiting arms.
Have you guys? This is
Mr.
a
Rock.
rumor. This is hearsay. I don't know if it's true, but I have heard that Kid Rock once got kicked out of the 49er. Is that on any of your radars?
I've heard that rumor. I have no idea if it's true or
Yeah,
not.
I cannot confirm, but I also cannot. What's the opposite of confirm?
Deny.
Deny. Yes. So I would love to live in a world where Kid Rock got thrown out of the 49er.
Every now and then I go to the CVS where the 49er used to be and think, man, this used to be the 49er.
Every now and then I go to the 49er and just get blackout drunk.
Yeah.
Or I ruined my own joke. I was gonna say CVS. And just get blackout drunk.
Every now and then
on
I
mouthwash.
yeah.
We should just show up to the CVS and just set up our instruments in one of the aisles. And
Every now
And
and
smoke a carton of cigarettes.
every now and then I go to the Walmart where the Ranch Bowl used to be and think, man,
Man, Warren Zevon played at this Walmart.
yeah. It's just why I do hope Trey and Lilia eventually sell the building so they can retire to Mexico like they talked about. But there's a reason why, in my heart, I'm kind of glad that the building that Brothers was in
Is
is just
empty in that fucking shithole.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you freaks who are gentrifying this neighborhood resented this punk bar being here.
And guess what?
And guess
We're
what?
a punk bar.
Yeah, the skeleton will still be there, and you can't fucking fill it. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know that was the situation.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. You
Yeah.
guys are cool. I think everybody listening to this podcast is extremely attractive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone who is listening to this podcast now, happily married man. So this is a hypothetical, but everyone listening to this podcast is automatically in the wood column for me.
Yeah, and same. Laura what her name, and Marjorie Taylor Greene are over here, and all
Yeah.
of you people are over here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I'd be like, hey girl, you want a back rub?
Yeah. You want to give me a hand job while we watch Beetlejuice?
That's
Kid Rock's like, hell yeah.
in some circles that's the worst pickup line ever. In
Yeah.
some circles that's the best pickup line ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where do you stand?
I'd love that only
Some
if I get to
people are
vape
like
during it.
Republican
Yeah.
versus Democrat, and I'm like, how about would you give me a hand job while we watch Beetlejuice?
Oh, yeah.
Are you in the yes or no category? You know.
Do you think it was a weed vape at that? Weed is legal in Colorado. However, a lot of conservatives are performatively still pretending that they don't do weed.
Oh, I don't think she has any morals, so it wouldn't surprise me.
It was probably a weed vape. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any morals there either.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it was a weed vape or not.
Yeah.
What's funny is Dana
They
and
stand
I,
for nothing.
the week before, we were hanging out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and they had a sign for that same Beetlejuice play because it was coming through town. And then we come home, and then a week later, Lauren Boebert gets caught jerking off some guy at Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea that was a thing. I thought
Yeah, that was a real
I
thing.
thought
that
we were
happened.
just riffing. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's a real thing.
I was like, that's a funny thing for Dave to say.
Yeah. I remember one of. I don't remember
Oh my
if this is just
God.
someone I followed or if this was a mutual, but on Bluesky at the time, someone was like, to the tune of Eleanor Rigby, Beetlejuice hand job.
Beetlejuice hand. Oh my God. That I can't believe that.
Yeah.
That is so absurdist.
Yeah, Yeah, like she was like this was before Kid Rock. This was just like
This was
Yeah,
This
some
was like-
random
it was like-
Colorado
was
club
it-
owner.
yeah. This
was it
yeah.
AKR or BKR?
Yeah, it was just like this guy she was dating. This was like the second or like the first or second date, no more after that. But like they were in Beetlejuice, just like vaping and blowing smoke at a pregnant woman.
Oh my
well,
God.
well, he was feeling up her tits and she was giving him a hand job, and it was like all like, and then like when she complained that they were being thrown out, like were being mistreated, the venue that had it just like released the surveillance footage.
Yeah, she
Oh,
tried to
like,
pull the
fuck
"Do you
it.
know who
Yeah.
I am" card.
Do you know him? Yeah,
Yeah, you're the chick giving
Yeah, the
some
girl
guy a
on
hand.
this
We can
video.
all see you.
you're the gal on this video, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That is something else, man. I can't believe that. I can believe that, but
Yeah.
I can't believe it for other reasons, but I can believe it for other reasons.
And then when it looked like she was going to lose her congressional race because of all that, she moved to a safer district.
Yeah.
oh my
You have anything to plug?
god. What do I got to plug? I don't have. I teach guitar and piano and bass, so consider me. But that's about it. I don't have any gigs with any of my bands coming up. I'm playing some like classical guitar gigs in the band background of some events coming up soon. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
The teaching stuff is more of a reliable paycheck anyway.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really fun too. I really enjoy it a lot. So, it's a lot of fun. I'd do it again. I'll do
Yeah.
it tomorrow. Actually,
You'll
Fuck
do
it.
it. You'll do it.
fuck it. I'll do it tomorrow. You know,
You'll do it every weekday.
I will. A couple of things that I've had to teach in the past couple of weeks are going to be "Lover" by Taylor Swift,
Okay.
which makes people very excited to play the guitar. So good job, Taylor.
Yeah.
TNT. I have a student who's 8, and sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, what's your favorite song?" And some of the younger people are like, you know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell to listen to back when I was 10, you know?
Yeah.
But I have this 8-year-old student who will go unnamed. But I said, "What's your favorite song?" And before I could even finish the sentence, he goes, "TNT by AC/DC." And so I know. So we listened to it a lot, and then I was like, "Oh, if you like this song, there's lots of AC/DC. Do you listen to AC/DC very much?" And he was like, "No." And so I was like, "Well, here, check this out." And I started like scrolling through all their song titles, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well," and then I looked at his mom and I go, "You might want to go through and make
Yeah.
a playlist that this young man can listen to."
Definitely put big balls on it.
Yeah, or she's got the jack. You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, I used to think it was Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Chief.
I did too.
Oh yeah, and the Thunder Chief. Dirty
Which sounds
Deeds
like-
and the Thunder Chief, like an
It sounds like a
action movie.
duo in a movie
Yeah.
or something.
Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Chief.
Yeah,
I've
Dirty
seen
Deeds
that.
and Thunder Chief.
I've seen that Burt Reynolds movie. Yeah.
30 Deeds and the Thunder Chief. No, that's all I got. I hope that everybody out there listening tonight makes $1 million.
I hope
Yes.
everybody out there tonight gets a hand job from Lower Bobert at
Beetlejuice.
At Beetlejuice.
I
It doesn't
hope.
have to
I
be in
hope the
Denver.
opposite. I hope they get a hand job from
From
Beetlejuice.
Kid Rock.
From Kid Rock at the next GOP convention. How about that?
I hope.
I feel like he would
whoever-
be way too rough.
Yeah.
Kid Rock? Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
seem like a very generous lover.
Yeah. I hope whoever's listening to. I hope whoever's listening to this gets railed from behind in a dark alley at CPAC by.
By Marjorie Taylor Greene.
By Marjorie Taylor
man.
Greene and a strap on.
If I don't know if that's like a like you wishing people well or wishing people ill, you know.
I think that might be wishing people ill too much. I hope everyone listening to this has a pleasant week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, everybody listening to this avoids Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
For at least.
I bet you we lost her as a subscriber.
Yeah.
With this podcast. Sorry, Marge.
Sorry.
You know, sorry, I'll text you. We'll go see a play. I'll make it up to you.
Yeah.
Marjorie. I call her Marge for short.
Large Marge.
Marge. Tell him Large Marge. I could just see her saying that and laughing like that in the middle of the Beetlejuice play. And then people would be like, ma'am, you have to come with us.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, before we derail too much more, catch you on the flip side.
Adios.
Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve is a Floof Goof Studios production. You can find us on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can find us on Bluesky at KillRock Music and Beastmaster General. Check out our musical projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, on all major streaming platforms, and links to each at my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. This also includes my past projects, Megaton and Valley of Shadows, and my current solo project, Kill Rock. You can also find Dave's past project, Gong Farmer, at GONGFERMOUR.bandcamp.com. Thanks.
Everyone we worked with is dead.
Really ripped.
Yeah. I need to change my pants.
Check.
Leonard Bernstein.
I hate it so much I skipped the whole Destroyer right here.
Allow me to play you out.
Dirty Dave just pooped his pants.
Yes, indeed. Perfect hooker murdering song.
Kick out the jail, motherfucker! Are you ready?
Oh, Steve's got some cheese.
Get my podcast voice ready to go.
Jaw Wobble. What a name.